Hi, my name's Josh and I'm going to be talking about the history of Mario Kart today. Let's get into it. Mario Kart, first released in North America in September of 1992, became one of the best-selling titles on the Super Nintendo for its unique gameplay and distinctive creativity. The multiplayer feature was mesmerizing to people as they could finally compete and play against their friends. This sparked huge excitement for people because they had never seen a multiplayer game like this. Many of you probably know about the latest Mario Kart that has been released, but did you know that the Mario Kart franchise has been going on for over 30 years? Today, I'm going to talk about how Mario Kart evolved to what it is today, going into detail about every game there has ever been. Mario Kart is a high-intense racing game where players could use many different popular characters within the Mario franchise. Since Nintendo had previously released games that were part of the Mario franchise, it helped a lot with the growth of the game. However, the creators of Mario Kart, Shigeru Miyamoto and Tadashu Sugiyami, did not just randomly come up with the idea to create the game. They took inspiration from a game called F-Zero, which was a high-speed single-player racing game in which players maneuvered futuristic vehicles at speeds of over 400 km per hour across large, sprawling tracks. Although F-Zero was rated highly within the gaming industry, at the time it was never a crowd breaker as it could only be played single-player. This is where the developers decided that they wanted to create a game that could be played multiplayer and have much better physics. Mario Kart instantly blew up and became one of the most popular games played on the SNES. After the first Mario Kart got released and took over within the gaming community, this sparked a real interest for Nintendo to carry on the franchise with newer and more updated games such as Mario Kart 64, released December 1996. This was the first Mario Kart to be played with a controller that had a joystick, which meant it felt a lot more immersive and fascinating for the player. For many, Mario Kart 64 was the changing point for Nintendo racing games, as it was the first ever 3D racing game and it had such a huge audience playing the game. Thanks to the Nintendo 64's graphical prowess, undulating tracks such as Rainbow Road were now possible and helped make the game a huge hit worldwide. Moving on to Mario Kart Super Circuit, released July 2001, makes it the first Mario Kart to be released in the 2000s and the first Mario Kart to be released for a handheld console. Unlike Mario Kart 64, it does not use 3D graphics, which many people were disappointed about. Despite the fact that it had 2D graphics, let's not take away from the fact that its portability and newer physics made this game a very well appreciated game by the community. Next in the timeline, we have one of the most unique Mario Kart games that Nintendo has released, which we all know is the very famous Mario Kart Double Dash. Released in November 2003, Mario Kart Double Dash really made a name for itself as the first Mario Kart where two characters would ride together on one vehicle. Not only was this a huge change, but Double Dash was released on the GameCube, the first Nintendo console where a controller had more than one joystick. The fact that this controller had two joysticks made it a lot more enjoyable for players. The vibrant colours, eccentric maps and overall incredible graphics made Double Dash a fierce competitor to any Mario Kart released before. Next up, we have the release of Mario Kart DS in November 2005, only 2 years after the release of Double Dash. Mario Kart DS became the second Mario Kart to be released for a handheld console. However, that does not take anything away from this game as it was very addicting and very replayable. This was the first Mario Kart where people took a real interest into the balloon battles where you have to hit opponents' balloons with items to be the last one standing. It was one of the most played modes on the game as its features were very different than they had been in previous Mario Kart games. The new tracks that they released were outstanding to say the least, much more attention to detail and a lot more enthralling moments on tracks. Mario Kart DS, released for the Nintendo DS in 2005, was the first Mario Kart game to include online play via the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. It went on to become the best-selling handheld racing game of all time, selling 7.83 million units. The game also marks the debut of tracks appearing in previous games. Mario Kart Wii, personally my favourite Mario Kart that has been released. Due to its amazing gameplay physics and possibilities in the game, there are so many opportunities for shortcuts and the gameplay is very smooth and clean, which makes it very addicting. Mario Kart Wii is where the competitive side to Mario Kart was really starting to rise. People were, and still are, competing for the fastest times to complete courses. This changed Mario Kart a lot, because before this, people would just play for fun. As it was starting to become more competitive, people were taking the game a lot more seriously. Mario Kart Wii is the highest rated Mario Kart by players because I think the jump between the previous Mario Kart was huge. The controllers were also a lot better than what they had been before on other consoles. Now we move on to the most recent and premium Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the lead-on from Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the newer version which was released with the Nintendo Switch. This game by far has the best graphics of any Mario Kart and is a lot more child-friendly than any others because the gameplay is a lot easier since there are settings to help those who are not as experienced. Many people have liked this edition, but some people have not, as they say the game is too easy now. Nintendo have recently added a booster pack to the game, which includes the addition of new maps from old Mario Karts to give the old Mario Kart players something to be excited about. Whether you have played Mario Kart before or this is your first Mario Kart, you cannot go wrong with this game. As it is the most sold game on the Switch, it is obviously an amazing game and it has had a lot of amazing feedback. That is where the history of Mario Kart ends, and we look forward to seeing more amazing releases in the future.